Hey guys, welcome to episode number 20 of the Smart Nutrition Made Simple podcast. I'm your host, Ben Brown. Today I interview performance coach Brad Davidson. Brad Davidson is an author, speaker, and performance coach who specializes in enhancing the metabolism and optimizing human performance, specifically in high-stressed individuals. Brad specializes in optimizing and educating C-suite executives, professional athletes, CrossFit athletes, and tactical athletes. Brad is the author of the previous book, The 21-Day Metabolic Reset, and has a brand new program coming out at eatsleeprecover.com. You guys are definitely going to want to check out this program. The cool part about the program and about our conversation is that 80% of the benefits that Brad has found over his career to happen with his high performers come from everything, 80% of the things that we do outside of the gym. And that means nutrition, sleep, mindset, supplementation. And so we go deep into how to manage stress, what the appropriate nutrition protocols are, and how he helps high-performing individuals manage these stressors on a daily basis so that ultimately they can perform at their best. You guys are going to love this episode, and if you've enjoyed the content that we've distributed lately, then I would love to have you subscribe to the show. And of course, if you're listening on iTunes, then give us a 5-star review. It's really the best way that you can help us continue to get the best quality information out there and interview the best and brightest people in the industry so that ultimately we can make smart nutrition simple. With that said, I'll turn it over to the interview with Brad Davidson. I hope you guys enjoy. Brad Davidson, welcome to the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Ben, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. So excited to be talking with you.
Yeah, I get excited before every single podcast that I do because I love connecting with people like you in the industry. People who have been in the industry a long time, are such a wealth of knowledge. And I just found myself really excited once I had you booked, and I've kind of been waiting for this, this episode to come to fruition. So I'm super, super happy and thankful to have you on the show. What's happening in your world right now?
Oh, man, some cool stuff, right? I mean, I work with a lot of athletes. That's kind of what I consult for, our high-level athletes. I just had my PGA golfer win the Safeway Open up in Napa, and I got to be there live for it. Probably one of the most epic experiences of my life as a strength coach, nutritionist for pro athletes. I've had guys in the World Series, the Super Bowl. This took it to a whole nother level, just walking shot by shot, hole by hole to watch one of my guys. I've been working with Brendan Steele for 4 years now. To watch him win live was just epic. So that's cool. A lot of people don't know, a number of people do, but 18 months ago, I actually sold the gym that I had started down here in California to really focus on speaking, my book, and I'm launching a new online platform called eatsleeprecover.com, which is basically to support everybody and everything they do outside the gym to get better results in the gym. So we're kind of on the last 1% of detail, finalizing that, and hopefully going to launch that here in the next month or two. So really excited about what's in the near future for what I got going on.
That's awesome. It seems like I've been following you over the last several years, but it seems like you always have a ton of things going on. And that certainly seems to be the case right now. Talk to me about what happened with the Safeway Open and the wildfires?
Gosh, it was crazy. So my guy wins. And then he has to jump on a plane to fly to Malaysia for the next tournament. So he leaves. I was with a buddy of mine, and we got a hotel room right there on the course at the resort. And we leave at 8 o'clock to go to dinner. 10 o'clock, we're driving back to the resort, and all of a sudden, the whole hillside is just up in flames. And as we get closer to the resort, we're getting closer to the fire. And we pull into the parking lot. We're like, man, we got to grab our stuff. They're setting up a command center right there. And the firefighters, the cops, everybody's just freaking out because the fire, you got out of the car, you just feel the heat. You're engulfed in smoke. It was crazy. So we were immediately evacuated, and it was just sad, to look back and realize to see the pictures of the grandstands have been burnt down. I mean, honestly, that is not a big deal when you start looking at the number of deaths that there have been, the number of people missing, the damage that's been done. It was just crazy to have been right there where it all started and to be one of the first groups evacuated. It was absolute chaos. It was scary, man. So to go from just this crazy emotional high to this absolute fight or flight, I got to do whatever it takes to get out of here feeling was a pretty crazy emotional swing. But
yeah, what a tumultuous experience that
yeah.
must have been. And talk about stress hormones just
Oh,
cranking out, both between the win and then all of a sudden, yeah, like you said, you've got this sympathetic nervous system activation going on with
yeah.
basically running away from the fire. That's crazy. That's crazy. But you know what? Congratulations on the athlete, on Brendan Steele winning. That must have been so incredibly exciting, and
Yeah.
what a momentous opportunity and experience for you as a coach.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's funny. Golf, of all the sports I've trained, is probably the one I'm loving the most. Even though I can't play it,
Yeah.
but just so much of what I do carries over to his results. So it's been I've been with him 4 years. It's been a really fun 4 years of just watching him. He's gone from, I think, like 282nd in the world to today he's 47th in the world. Like he's the number one driver on tour right now with an average of 327.8 yards. When I started with him, his average was 282. So like the stuff we have done has dramatically affected his stats, his progression, his confidence, all that stuff. So it's really fun to see how much impact your stuff can have on someone's career. It's pretty cool.
Well, let's talk about some of that stuff that you've been doing. How much of his success would you attribute to what you guys have actually done in the gym versus the other components, is lifestyle, nutrition, and all of those things?
It's been a fun road. When he first hired me, he'd never worked out before. I remember him back squatting with tens on each side. No, I'm sorry. We didn't even back squat. That was a bench press. He was doing a bench press with tens on each side. I wouldn't even let him back squat to start because he just had really bad mechanics. But his gut was just destroyed. So this guy was 6'3", 170 pounds, 16% body fat, and I saw it was all in his gut. So I went in and I said, hey, look, this is going to be a hard road because I got to go heal your gut. You're probably going to lose weight first, because his goal was, I want to put on my dream is to get to 180 pounds. I said, okay, well, I'll get you there, but you got to be patient. And literally the first year, I took him from 170 to 160. And like literally his clothes were falling off of him. But I had to heal his gut in order to get him to grow. And so we went through that process. And fast forward today, I mean, he weighs 195 pounds today. He sits around 10, 12% body fat. I found there's really no benefit to getting any leaner than that. But so that was the first step, was I had to get his metabolism in a healthy place to get him to grow. I mean, the guy only ate, he didn't eat any real food back then. It was pizza and macaroni and cheese. It was just crazy. But then with that, we built the strength. So first year was just all structural balance, strength balance, getting him back in a symmetrical system that could work off of. And then from there, we just made him as big, as strong, and as powerful as possible. I told him I wanted to train him like my hockey players, minus the conditioning aspect. I wanted to make him really explosive and powerful so he could generate a lot of force when he swings. And it's been epic. It did give him a big advantage, meaning that he loves long, tight courses because he's one of 5 golfers in all of history that has hit, he's averaged over 300 yards driving and above 65% driving accuracy, I think. It's some crazy number. He's one of 5 PGA golfers, and he's done it 3 years in a row now. So that impact has really given him an advantage because he can outdrive most guys, and now he has a shorter shot at his second shot. So that helps, and so that's his big advantage. And a lot of that came from the strength training we do. And it's funny, guys on tour, criticize him all the time, like, oh, you're just going to get hurt. This is going to be bad for you. It's been, he hasn't missed 1 round since I started working with him. And he keeps telling the guys, like, I'm not getting hurt. Like, the whole focus of this is durability. Like, I didn't just start doing pull-ups and back squatting. We did all the structural balance stuff to get me in a place where I could do it safely. So you don't just walk in the gym and put 200 pounds in your back and squat. I started with 10-pound dumbbells doing split squats. Like, I started somewhere and built on it. So it's fun. And now he's kind of at that level where he's just, on Sunday I watched him at a drive. He had a 370 drive, a 369 drive right down the middle of the fairway, a couple drives around 340. It was just monstrous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, just monstrous.
So how much of the system that you use with guys like Brendan and you work with a lot of high performers. So you work with a lot of athletes, but you also have worked with a lot of, executive style guys, a lot of type A personalities. What is it about, these high performers that separate themselves from the rest of the general population, if you will?
They're willing to do the things that most people aren't willing to do. Brendan hires me and his goal is to put size on. He wants to get bigger and more muscular. And I tell him, like, look, if you want that, the process is this. You're going to have to lose a bunch of size first as I heal your system, and then we'll grow you from there. And that took a whole year. I mean, basically started at 170, got all the way down to 160 pounds, like 6% body fat. And at the end of the year, I had him back at 170, but at 8% body fat. And so it was like a long, tedious process, but he was in. The other thing I like about these people is that it's never a half-ass workout. They walk in. And Brendan always says, I may not be able to give you much, but I'll give you everything I have. Yep. So oftentimes I get to be the brakes, not the gas pedal. I'm not begging people to do more. I'm managing them and telling them when to do less, and they will listen. It's the ones that are unwilling to listen and do the tough stuff. And a lot of times at the high achiever level, it's to take the day off. That's hard for a lot of people. They think I just got to outgrind everybody. So no, like we're very focused on recovery first. And even like, if you look at, like, we'll use Brendan example, his golf style, where he used to if he had a bad round, he'd go out and he just practice like crazy. He over-practiced himself into fatigue and he just shoot himself in the foot. So now he has a bad round. He walks off the course. He goes, takes a nap, has a nice meal, just forgets about it, and then comes back the next day well rested. I found rest to be probably the single biggest advantage the athlete can have, or even the CEO at the highest level, because the brain works better. Fine motor skills work better. It's really valuable. So they're just willing to do that stuff, where most people think they can't afford to take downtime. It's the one thing you can't afford not to do.
It's the non-sexy stuff that they're willing to do that's going to ultimately have the biggest influence on their performance, long run, right? So in my experience working with clients like this, especially the executive type, the type A, what we see is that a lot of times they're all in or they're all out. And it's like, and certainly using exercise as one of these components is obviously they work extremely hard, and it's part of why they've been so successful, but they also live really hard. And so if it's like, hey, I need to lose some weight, all of a sudden it's extreme dieting and extreme exercise. And then they're on their bike every morning at 4:30 in the morning, cycling for 2 hours, and then on with their work day. And the things that get sacrificed are sleep, but they'll be diligent about their nutrition, but kind of dig themselves deeper and deeper. How do you address those types of, have you experienced that? And how do you address those types of components with these types of clients?
Yeah. Now it's gotten to a point where when somebody hires me, they'll listen to what I say. But my book that I wrote, the Metabolic 21-Day Reset, was all on this topic of, with pro athletes, when they come out of season, it's very easy to ask them to take some downtime. Just go sleep, go rest, go recover, get out of the gym. Don't focus on it. Give yourself a break. And they'll do it. And then year after year, they come back with better and better results. But yeah, a lot of times the CEO is like, no, I don't have time to take a day off. Like, I got to outwork everything. And that's the mindset that's been built into most, is I got to outwork this. And what's interesting is when I first wrote my book, I wrote this plan. I got challenged that it had to be a really short, effective plan by HarperCollins. Like, if you want to sell a book or you want a book deal, you'll come up with this plan. So the first one I wrote was 90 days. Like, that's way too long. It's got to be 30. So I wrote a plan for 30 days. Like, oh, that's still way too long. The new thing is 21. I'm like, that's impossible to change somebody's physiology in 21 days. Like, well, if you want a book deal, you'll figure it out. So I write this plan, and I just took everything I'd done with my athletes in that short window of time, that 30-day period, and I built it into the system for executives. And I tested on 350 real estate agents, high stress, high performers. But I told them, I said, hey, I don't want you to exercise at all on this 3-week phase. I just want you to follow the plan, sleep more than normal, and focus on rest. If you want to exercise, go for a walk. And what came back was the most amazing results I'd ever seen. And the belief system of it was, stress is a big issue. Stress wrecks the metabolism. So much people focus on blood sugar issues. And I get it. For lazy people that don't have much stress, they hate exercise. Yeah, blood sugar is an issue. They need a little kick in the rear to kickstart some stress, to make some change. But for the people I work with, it's this overwhelming amount of stress. They never shut down. Every once in a while, I'll test people on a heart math tool for a little biofeedback, and I'll turn them away from the screen so they can't see it. People cannot shut off the fight or flight response. They're just stuck in it. It's hilarious. So that was the whole day of the plan. It's like, okay, let's just see what happens. Well, these people got amazing weight loss results, energy results. It's like somebody just recharged the battery and the body fat just started stripping off because the stress went away.
And so your whole 21-day reset was revolved around basically stress management and nutrition and lifestyle, and negated exercise. Is that correct?
Yeah, because when I travel around the world speaking to groups of CEOs, I'll tell them, it's really funny. If I walked in here and said, hey, To get results, you guys need to go stress yourself out as much as you can for 60 minutes a day, 6 days a week. And that's how you're going to change. You think I'm crazy. But if I change that word from stress to exercise, you think I'm brilliant.
Yep.
But it's the same thing. Like, it's not the answer. And so now when somebody wants to challenge me, I'll just say, hey, look, for the next 3 weeks, you can't exercise. If you do, I'll fire you. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you're a strength coach. And the reality is, yeah, I am. That's part of what I do, but I'm a performance coach. And the strength component is one tool in the tool bag for success. And a lot of times, it's not the right tool for most high achievers. They're burnt. They're running on fumes. I mean, man, I had one guy tell me I have to take 5 shots of espresso before I work out, another 5 shots of espresso after I work out, just to get through my day. Do you think that's bad? I'm like, yeah, I think that's really bad. Like, you have an energy crisis, dude. Like, you got to stop. And he wouldn't do it. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. After you have your heart attack, come back and find me.
I love that because, I think that's great because, like I said, I mean, so many people think of exercise as the missing tool, and when they're already extremely spread thin and stressed out and overreaching, and then you pile the exercise onto that, and the last thing that happens is weight loss, but the first thing that happens is just digging them deeper and deeper. And so that's some of the stuff that you talk about in your new Eat, Sleep, Recover program.
Yeah. So the Eat, Sleep, Recover program is it's this online program that comes with a little bit of coaching. It's all automated. And I wanted to bring what I offered to my CEOs and my pro athletes at a level anybody could afford. That was the big dream, the big goal is how do I take this program that I've created for high performing professionals that make millions of dollars and make it affordable for somebody like me. And so I teamed up with this tech team. Actually, one of the CEOs that I turned around out of New York, he had this huge tech firm. And so we teamed up and they were able to automate all my logarithms, my equations, and create the system. And it's the system that's based off of your metabolism and how you are performing. I believe your greatest asset is number 1, energy, number 2, focus. When those 2 things are in play, you're a whole lot more effective in life. Most systems focus first on how the body looks. And it sacrifices everything to look great. And oftentimes your energy goes out the window, your brain shuts down, but great, you look amazing. You know what's funny at that standpoint? Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, you don't even want to have sex anymore, but you look great. It's like, what's the point of looking great and not getting much done in life? So this takes into factors of what's your metabolism doing? Is it wiped out? Is it high performing? So we go in and we fix what's broken first in the first phase. Maybe it's a metabolic reset, maybe a little metabolic recovery. It just takes into play where you're at. It fixes the problem. And then it begins to match nutrition, supplementation, and lifestyle to where you're at, what your goals are, how high you're performing, and how much you exercise. And that's critical because most people aren't matching their nutritional intake to their exercise output. They're trying to spread the gap as much as possible. And it's like, man, that doesn't work because there's a bigger evil in the world. It's stress. It's not calories in versus calories out with the people I deal with. And we're talking high-level CrossFitters, pro athletes, CEOs, executives, moms. Oh my gosh. One of the hardest clients I've had to work with are moms that have, 3 little kids running around. That's hard work. That's super stressful. And you don't get to sleep on top of it. It's like, wow, you abuse that woman with exercise and she's only getting worse, not better. So,
So all these, go ahead.
Well, so that's what the system's based off of. It's, I want you feeling great first. I want you performing better than ever. And then number 3, you're going to look good. Now, you're not going to look like a fitness model on stage because those people are miserable at that standpoint, but you're going to look like a high-performing, very fit individual when the system is built to manage your energy first, your performance second, and then how you look third.
Yeah, because more importantly, yes, you'll look great, but more importantly, you're going to have great energy and you're going to feel amazing, which means you're going to be able to, do that much more. And so it's as you said, it's not just for high performing individuals per se, but it really applies to the general population who, let's be honest, is extremely stressed out and spread anyways.
Life's hard this day and age. It never turns off. It's really hard.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to get into what some of the components, more specifically into what some of the components are of the program, but I want to take a step back and I want to just touch on, you've mentioned metabolism a couple times and kind of metabolic reset. And for those people, I think everyone has a general idea of what our metabolism is and how it regulates our body to some degree. Can you explain how our metabolism plays a role in, how we feel on a daily basis, our energy, our body fat levels, our cognitive function, all of that stuff?
Yeah. I look at the metabolism as all the chemical reactions, the processes that go on within the human body. So it could be, the making of neurotransmitters for your brain performance, hormone optimization, how your body's making hormones, utilizing hormones, how your body's burning energy, what your thyroid's doing. It's a combination of everything. When you look at a diagram of the metabolic processes in the body, it is like utter chaos. There's so many of them. And I think it's so funny to see all the processes of the metabolism and then have it be whittled down to, oh, it's really simple. It's just eat less, do more.
Yeah,
and that's the answer. It's like, no way, because if your liver's congested, nothing's going to happen. If your adrenals are tapped out, nothing's going to happen. You're probably going to get worse. If your blood sugar's out of control, you're probably just going to get worse. If your gut health is fried, I don't care how little you eat, how much you eat, you're not assimilating any of it. Your metabolism's fried. So I just look at it from that process. And I've tried to make it as simple as possible for people to understand. What I have found when stress is at play, when it's a high performer, typically one of 4 areas in metabolism is going to give you problems. It could be blood sugar. And what's very interesting is that so often I'll meet people that are not eating carbs, but they're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. And they don't get it. Like, how can this be? I don't eat carbs. It's like, well, you can also become a diabetic by too much stress, because when you're stressed out running from a lion, the body's going to trap blood sugar in the blood for instant energy. So I see that a lot. I see a lot of congested liver issues. Some signs of this: if you're awake between 1 and 4 in the morning, that could be a sign. If you have a hard time getting going in the morning, that could be a sign. Again, adrenal fatigue. It's not so much the adrenals are fatiguing, it's the hypothalamus pituitary, your brain. They're just wore out. They can't get the signal to the adrenals anymore. You see a lot of this with men, that they just can't signal to the testes to make more testosterone. So I see that happening a lot. And then, gut health is a big issue. If you're bloated, farting, having gas, constipation, those types of things, your gut's not healthy, you got big problems. So we break our system down into, okay, which one of those 4 is the big problem area? And we attack that first. So we have simple questionnaires that we use. And if the questionnaires add up to a certain level, we know that their system's tapped out. They're not handling stress well. They're not recovering well. And if we give them too much exercise, we will probably just end up killing them and ruining their life. So we would put that person in a metabolic reset. It's like, okay, look, you can't handle exercise, so back off. You're going to focus on sleep. We're going to give things to support all 4 of those things, so that the system is based around, let's love on the liver early in the day. Let's manage blood sugar. Let's give you carbs at night, right? Let's take out constant inflammatory foods, some of the more common sensitivity-based foods that I've found over the years of all my testing. And so give the metabolism a break. Use supplementation that will heal that system, aid that system, get you back to a point where you're at a high energy state. So we also take away all the tools we use to self-regulate our energy, like all the caffeine from coffee and stimulants, the alcohol at night to calm us down. Mm-hmm. And we just re-regulate the system. So if somebody's wiped out by day 3, they really understand how bad their metabolism is, because they can barely function. But that's the reality of this is what it's really like when you stop self-medicating. And then by day 21, actually by day 30 of the first phase, they feel like $1 million. And then from there, we start regulating, okay, how do you like to live? How much do you like to exercise? I don't care. I have no judgment on that. If you want to exercise twice a day, 6 days a week, that's fine. Here's the nutritional intake you need to recover from that. Here's the supplements you need to recover from that. And here's the amount of sleep you need, the lifestyle you need, the recovery strategies you need to survive that and thrive in that realm. So that's what the system is like. And it just, every month, it progresses with you. There's questionnaires you answer to let us know is it working, not working. I've learned from Dr. Jay Teddy. He's one of my favorites. He calls it SHMEC, because you're SHMEC in check. That's something that I like to use, because I found it works really well. It's looking at your sleep, your hunger levels, your energy, your mood, your energy, and your cravings. And you can find out a lot about a person's system, if the plan's working or not, by those simple things. If you're hungry all the time, you're sleeping like crap, you have weird cravings, these are a sign that the system you're using, even if you're dropping body fat, it's not working. It's very easy to get somebody to drop body fat by absolutely destroying them. And just go watch Biggest Loser. It's very easy. It doesn't mean that it's healthy and leading to a better high-performing life.
Yeah, so then people have those objective measures to kind of track their progress. They may, subjectively be realizing, like, I do feel like I'm feeling better. And then based on the questionnaires, they can see objectively, like, yeah, my energy levels are definitely improving. My sleep's improving. My libido's improving. My gut feels like it's, functioning better, all of those things. That's great.
Yeah.
So what are some of the components that you utilize with your clients? Because like we said, everyone suffers from stress. So what are some of the components that you use, for instance, to help people more effectively with, like, this, let's say, their sleep to start off with?
Sleep is like, that's the big critical component we focus on first. Because I know, and a lot of people have realized if somebody's not sleeping, nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, that's been missed over the years. And I think a lot of times it was, okay, you have to cheat sleep to be successful. And the person who could cheat the most sleep is the biggest winner. It's like, oh my gosh, that person's actually a train wreck. We start looking at brain performance and stuff like that. So we'll test that. So we want people to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. I found a really cool study on the military where they were trying to find what's the minimal amount of sleep a soldier can sleep and still be effective. So between 7 hours of sleep a night and 6 hours of sleep a night, there was a 26% drop in productivity ability. By day 20 of sleeping 7 hours versus 6. The difference between 7 and 4 was almost like a 90% drop in productivity. Even though they had 3 more hours a day to work, it was crazy. So I like that 7-hour mark. If somebody is training at a very high level, my athletes, the mark's 10 hours a night. That comes from Stanford University. They did a sleep study. They showed athletes that slept 10 hours a night performed dramatically better than those that didn't, without changing anything else. It allows the brain to clean itself up better and perform better. So that's the goal. And so we'll do things like we'll teach them how to create a better sleep environment, things like blackout curtains, eye masks, cool room environment. I'll ask them to unplug off technology 30 to 60 minutes before bed and read a book or take a bath, do something to reconnect with themselves or those they love the most. I would much rather people have a glass of wine and have a conversation with someone they love than sitting up, drinking water, staring at a TV screen. I tell people off the news. I mean, you watch the news or look at the news, the world's falling apart. Like, that'll just scare the hell out of you. I like people to do things like my CEOs, it's really important to get their brains to stop spinning. So I'll do a couple things. I'll have them do a 60-second brain dump. Let's write down the 3 most important things they have to do the next day. Then they'll write in a grateful journal. I start writing down 3 to 5 things they're thankful for. And it's funny because people think, oh, the brain dump, that's really cool. The gratitude journal, that's kind of silly. But it's like the brain dump has no research to validate it. The grateful journal has tons of research to validate it. The brain dump was just an experience I created. I realized, oh, this kind of works, especially when you combine them. If the brain's still spinning, there's a great TED video. I learned this from Tim Ferriss. Play Tetris. That's the one time I let somebody look at their phone is play Tetris for 10 minutes, and it dramatically slows the brain down. I like to use things like magnesium. I'm a big fan of Neuromag by Life Extension. It's that magnesium 3-in-8 or whatever that passes the blood. That to work well. I actually one combo I've been playing with that I really like right now is I'll use BSL right before bed with Alpha-Centered PX by Poliquin. It's a Russian neurotropic. I can't remember what it's called, but you can only take it every once in a while because you can get addicted to it. But that combination,
Phenibut,
yeah, that's what it was. That combination of the enhanced blood flow with the Phenibut, I've been recovering. My HRV score, my readiness score, my Oura ring has been going through the roof since I started playing with that. So I'll do the Phenibut every 3rd day, but I'll do the BSL Complete Essentials with the Neuromag every night. Oh, it's been insane. I don't know what's going on there. I got to look deeper into it, but it's been really powerful pre-bed scenario for myself and some of my clients that I've been testing it on. And then if somebody's waking between 1 and 4, I'll give them, I like Thorn Liver Cleanse. I'll give them that before bed to support the liver, because I've learned through some Chinese medicine doctors that the liver is most active at night doing its job. And if it's too congested, it's going to get overly active and wake you up. So it's like bringing a little army to the war to support the liver. And those have been really good tools I found to really help with better sleep.
That's really valuable stuff, and a lot of stuff that we've discussed on the show before, specifically the Grateful Log, specifically the electronics before bed. But it's incredibly important that people are actually, this stuff is resonating with them because, we've got to improve the quality of our sleep. Brad, how does alcohol fall into your program? How does that affect people from a recovery, from a sleep standpoint, from a performance standpoint?
Yeah, alcohol is interesting. With CEOs, if I tell them they can't have alcohol, I'm done. I'm fired.
Well, that's the reason I asked the question, is because I've worked with enough CEOs to understand, it's something that likely is not going to give for any long period of time.
Yeah, I look at alcohol as a toxin, right? I mean, there's no way around it. It's a toxin. But I realize it's also one of the fastest ways to bring stress hormones down. And that's why most people crave it in the evening time, and willpower is low. So it's in the evening time, it's going to get you. So what I tell my CEOs is, let's go phase 1, no alcohol. Just go 30 days with no alcohol, and then I'll let you have it every night after that. And I can get that agreement. And why I like that agreement is because when they go back to the alcohol, it doesn't make them feel as good. Like all of a sudden, this thing that used to make them feel good makes them feel bad. So they don't want it as much, but they always have the green light to drink it at that standpoint. And I tell them, the better your overall lifestyle is, so the better you eat, the more water you drink, the better you sleep, the more consistent you are with stress management, the less of an issue I have with the alcohol. You're going to be able to handle it. But if your nutrition sucks, you're not sleeping, you're not hydrating well enough, and you throw alcohol on top of it, it's going to be a killer. It's going to shut everything down. So that's the game plan that I use with them. And I tell them, during the week, once you're at that place, 1 or 2 glasses a night. I prefer them to stay away from hard alcohol during the night, just because I found that really punishes glutathione production. Mm-hmm. And then I give them 1 night a week of a 3-hour cheat window starting at dinner. So at dinner for 3 hours, there's no rules of what you eat. There's no rules on what you drink. It's just whatever you're craving, you have. And I found that to be very, very beneficial. I've also found some studies, if you drink a little green tea before you have the alcohol, protects the liver a little bit. And then I like to follow up drinking before you go to bed with some type of liver support, like liver cleanse or milk thistle. I found that to kind of help and keeps it manageable. Now, my athletes before a big performance, or my CEOs before, say, a big negotiation, a big presentation, for 2 weeks leading up to those, there's no alcohol. Like there's no room for error. We want to have them peaked at a high level come day of performance. And there's just no way to do that when there is alcohol involved. It can be that 1% change or 1% reduction that can affect things in a poor manner. So 2 weeks out from big performance, there's no alcohol.
I like that. That seems super realistic for people to handle, and it's sort of a good negotiation area. Especially that what I've noticed in my practice is that first 30 days, because I'll do something similar, is oftentimes they realize how dependent they were on the alcohol, and 2, how much the alcohol actually was impacting their sleep, as an example, is, because most people use it to self-medicate, reduce stress, but ultimately it affects blood sugar so poorly that it affected their sleep. And then after going a significant period of time, sleep improves so much that they're really reticent to go back, at least to go back to the volume that they were consuming. Yeah, that's good stuff.
They feel if they drink too much, it totally disrupts sleep, and they don't want that. They love the feeling of good sleep at that point. It's really powerful, and it's nice. Isn't it nice not to be the bad guy?
Yeah.
Like they're making the decision not to do it versus you telling them. It works way better that way, I've learned. If it's their decision, because they don't like how it makes them feel, way more powerful.
Yeah, for sure. You had talked about, I know nutrition is a big component of your program, and you mentioned something about nutritional timing and eating more carbs at night. I think for a lot of people, the conventional wisdom is 1, carbs are bad, and 2, carbs are certainly bad in the evening time. Would you mind, sharing a little insight on why you recommend otherwise?
Yeah. So, that advice, if you're lazy, you hate exercise, you don't want to do anything, you probably just shouldn't eat carbs. There's no place for them. Your blood sugar is unstable. But the more you exercise, the more stress you experience, the more powerful carbs become in regulating stress. I actually learned this from Rob Wolf. One of the best lessons I learned from Rob Wolf, he had me on his podcast a couple years ago. I was in the middle of I was destroyed physically. I had just come off of training with the U.S. bobsled team. It was 2008, 2009, the horrible economy. It was super stressful. And I had trained myself I literally to the point I couldn't get out of bed anymore. And I was diabetic. I was like, what the hell? I haven't had carbs forever and I'm diabetic. Mm-hmm. And I asked Rob before our podcast, I'm like, what did I do wrong with your plan? He's like, dang, I didn't write my plan for you. Like, you have a totally different issue. I wrote my plan for 68% of society they're sick, they're lazy, they're unhealthy, they have no stress. Carbs will kill them. You got a cortisol issue. This is the first time I learned that stress is this bigger problem than it's been made out to be. And he's like, you need, my people, like you could have 600 grams of carbs a day. And without it, you don't manage cortisol well, that's going to wipe out your metabolism and you're going to become a diabetic anyways, just like you did. So we started playing with the carbs. And what I found is that if you just incorporate your carbs after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it brings the cortisol response down. eating carbs calms you down. So what I like is I like during the day, no carbs during the day to drive brain performance, to stabilize blood sugar, stabilize focus. You get more done and you're utilizing cortisol in that way. And it's a powerful thing. But as soon as the evening time comes, I want to start shutting people down. And so what I do is I have people eat the carbs at night. So they've exercised, muscle glycogen is more likely lower. They've been under stress. We need to bring that down. We need to calm the brain down so they sleep better. I get them sleeping better. Their blood sugar is more stable. It has been a home run for me. And I've even had I've dropped people's blood sugar 80 points in 3 weeks following this system. Support the liver early, no carbs till late, have a lot of carbs at night. People sleep better. Blood sugar stabilizes much faster. So that's what I like it. And to give you an idea of how powerful this is with athletes, so I have this group of athletes that years ago that used to come into town, and they would train with me, and they would always get a house on the beach. So these are young, famous, very rich athletes, NFL guys. And one year they roll up, none of them have girlfriends, and they get this house like a block from the pier where all the bars are. So I'm thinking, great, I'm screwed because I got to get these guys in great shape, but they're going to be out chasing girls and drinking. So what I did was the programs were extra hard, so they burned off more calories. And I put so much carbs in at dinner that they couldn't even eat it. In the beginning, like, this is awesome. But come the first Thursday night, they're so excited talking about the trouble they're going to go get into. And I was like, God, I hope this works. I text these guys at 8:30. I'm like, what are you doing? And like, we don't want to tell you. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you need to tell me because I need to make adjustments. Where are you? What bar are you at? Like, we're not at a bar, but we don't want to tell you what we're doing. And it ended up being that they were so lethargic and tired. They're all laying on the couch on a Thursday night watching The Bachelor. It was awesome. So eating carbs at night dramatically reduces your drive. It makes you lethargic and tired, elevates GABA, serotonin. It makes you want to fall asleep. And that's what I want with my high-stress individuals. Sleep is most important. You don't sleep, you're going to become a diabetic faster if you eat a bunch of carbs, in my opinion. I've seen it. It's crazy. So I know that if I put the carbs late at the day when muscle glycogen is low, it's going to replenish muscle glycogen. It's going to bring stress levels down. It's going to allow them to sleep better, and that allows them to recover better. It's a huge, huge win for high achievers. You can throw the carb meal after the exercise program as well. That's another great time to have carbs, is when you're more likely to push it to bring the stress response down, because exercise drives stress, but at the same time to replenish muscle glycogen for better recovery. Carbs are really, really powerful when it comes to recovery, in my experience, in my opinion.
No, that's great. And that's all that that's certainly what we preach with the type of information that we put out with BSL Nutrition and Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. And it's the idea that, like, look, there's no food group that's bad per se. It's how the calories are adding up and how you're utilizing them from a nutritional timing perspective, depending on the individual. And again, like you said, if it's someone that's exercising and can handle carbs. So that's great. That's really, really powerful feedback. Brad, within your Eat, Sleep, Recover program, I know you had said that you use a lot of questionnaires to determine kind of where someone's at and what they're ready for, what stage of, what kind of the problem areas are in which they need to address. Do you use any kind of metabolic testing or diagnostic testing procedures to help clarify any of these issues?
So we have like 3 different levels. The first level is just a nutrition plan with coaching. The second level is nutrition plan, the exact supplements we want you to take sent right to you. And then the third level is all based off of labs. The first 2 platforms are 12-week programs. The higher level one with the labs is a 16-week program. So you still do the questionnaires, you run diagnostic labs, and then everything's built off of your specific response or results from those labs. That's the most ideal, but that's the most expensive. That's $199 a month, I think it is, or maybe a little bit more than that. Where the other 2, the one with supplements is $130 a month. The one with no supplements is around $67 a month. So if people are willing to spend a little bit extra, they'll get the labs, which, that's when I'm working with private clients, that's what I like. I'm not going to guess on anything. They're going to do questionnaires. They're going to do labs, and I'm going to get a really clear picture of what's going on, because I don't like to guess. I want to assess as much as possible and go after the problem. So our highest level plan, I can't remember the exact pricing on it, but it is geared off of your labs specifically.
Cool. And so this is a program that's open to anyone. I mean, this isn't just for quote unquote high performers. I mean, it sounds like an amazing program that would be for everyone from housewives to, just stressed individuals to just your everyday Jane and Joe that want to improve their body fat, their body composition, improve their energy, sleep, libido, all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. The only person it's not for is somebody that is, medically diagnosed as being sick. I'm not a doctor. I'm not in the medical field. I'm not qualified for that. We don't have anybody on staff that's qualified for that yet. That may be a system we bring into play, but there are so many programs out there for those people. And that's who majority of people are targeting. I wanted to target that other, 32% of society that is really beat up, but high performing. They're healthy, but they feel horrible. And they're just being told, oh, your labs are normal. You're fine. For me, at a certain point in life, it becomes more about than just looking good. I think most of us realize at a certain point, looking good is very fleeting, right? I mean, I tell people all the time, like if all that matters is how you look, you are one car accident away from not mattering. It goes away so fast and life can just rip it apart from you so fast. For me, as I went through my stuff, I came to realize, wow, when I get home at night, I got no energy for my kids. Like I'm not even engaging with my wife. Like this sucks. So I rebuilt my plan, and my new focus on why I took care of myself is when I get home at night, I'm taking my kids to the park, I'm wrestling, I'm playing, I'm putting them to bed. I'm going to sit up and have a glass of wine and talk to my wife and be engaged. And that's my driving force. And what's funny is that when I realized that was my driving force and I focused on it, my body looks better now than it ever did. And I'm 42. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And it's not hard. It just has a lot of purpose behind it. So if your whole point in life is to look great and just go walk on the beach and show off your abs and get recognized because you're shredded, this plan is not for you. It's just not, because to me, one day life's going to show up and wake you the F up, and it's going to be, cancer, divorce, heart attack. There's going to give you a bigger purpose in life. And this system is, okay, you can choose to do that now, or when life grabs you and does that, here's a system that's going to give you a more fulfilling life. It's the nutrition, it's the lifestyle, it's all the stuff you need physically outside of your exercise to get more out of life. And we want to team up with gyms as well. We want to bring this into gyms and affiliate with gyms and say, hey, look, you take care of the training. We'll take care of everything outside of the gym. And, we'll compensate you for every one of your people. But now we got a recipe for extreme success because you're taking great exercise with great recovery. The other 80% is done outside of the gym. And it just the results that we're getting are staggering. And it's really fun because life matters. And most people want more out of life. And this system gives you that. Where most systems, they make you look better, but they rob you of life. And I'm not down with that. I don't want to look great if I don't want to have sex with my wife. I don't want to look great if I don't want to go take my kids to the park after, a long day of work. If I look like, I like it now. Cool. I'm not afraid to take my shirt off anywhere. It's great. My kids think I have big muscles. It's really cool. But to me, it's the fulfilled life that really, really, to me, I'm living a legendary life finally, where my whole life, where it was all around the physical prowess, how I looked. I had to look a certain way to be successful. It was really robbing me of a great life. So that's what this system's all about. It's to just drive fulfillment.
No, preach it, man. We're on the same page for sure. I'm definitely on the same page as you and feeling the same way. And, personally, I ditched the ego long ago. And of course I want to look good, with the shirt off, but ultimately it's like, I just want to feel great on a daily basis. And I want to have, the energy to be present with my family and run a great successful business and help a lot of people in the process. And so it sounds like a really incredible program, and certainly something that applies to virtually anyone. Brad, who are a couple people that you are currently, you mentioned Dr. Jay Tita. I love his work. I know that, you've done some, like we took a course together years and years ago with Dr. Bob Rukowski. I know you studied from Charles Poliquin.
Yeah, right.
Who are people that, let's say, within the past year, who are one or two people that you're continuing to learn from?
In the nutrition realm, I spent a lot of time with Dr. Tita. I love his stuff. Why I love his stuff so much is it's so sophisticated, but he's made it so simple. Yes. And I've talked about him for years, so I just love his work with the females, getting better results with them with their hormone cycles. I love his work on metabolism. He makes something so sophisticated, it seems so easy. So I've spent a lot of time with him lately. I've been from a strength development standpoint. I've been spending a lot of time with Stefan at Kilo in Huntington Beach. His courses are world class.
Absolutely.
I wish I ran into his training courses 10 years ago. Because it's just shockingly awesome. So from the training side of things, for my athletes, that's who I've been studying, and I highly recommend him. It's been phenomenal, best training courses I've ever taken. And what was funny is I thought, oh, well, I've done all the Poliquin stuff, and he was the head strength coach there, so I know all his stuff. Well, reality was he didn't share his best stuff there. He kept it to himself, and now he's giving everything that he has, and it's been revolutionary for my own development and for what I'm doing with athletes. Outside of that, I can't think off top of my head.
Those are some powerful recommendations. I tell and I couldn't agree with you more, but I tell every young coach I run into now that Stefan and what they're doing over at Kilo Strength Society, I mean, it is cutting edge. It's not even cutting edge. I mean, just the system he's put in place for, program design, for strength training program design and periodization is next level. And any strength coach, young or old, needs to take the time and invest in themselves to go do it. And Jade's work equally is incredible. So I mean, that's,
I've been spending a lot of time on mindset, emotional scenarios, belief systems. I've been studying a guy named Jim Haley out of Newport Beach, California. He's like Tony Robbins, but he's super quiet and does everything one-on-one. He's quote unquote a business coach, but he's NLP based, mindset based. And I'm learning that is probably the most important factor in long-term success with your health, your energy, your performance in life. Everybody wants the daily tactical strategies. And it's funny, if your belief system's off, or, the whole why behind what you're doing is off, the strategy doesn't matter. And I also been doing a lot of work with a company called Driven for Life. I'm actually becoming one of their facilitators. It's 2 days up in the mountains. It's 48 hours of just super intense, really uncomfortable scenarios to help you see how you respond in the world. And you become aware of how you respond. You can restructure and rechange how you see things. And it's really powerful. And what's funny is that as I was watching people go through these courses, they would come out, they would go in not mattering, not loving themselves, kind of hating themselves. So they were using exercise, nutrition because they hated themselves, just hoping that if they changed how they looked or lost some weight, they would feel better. They get there and life still sucks. This system, 48 hours, you walk away from it later and all of a sudden you matter, you love yourself, and now you're taking care of yourself for a bigger purpose than just looking good and trying to get acceptance. You're doing it because it matters to who you are for yourself. And I watch people lose 40 to 60 pounds in a matter of 3 months. Because all of a sudden it's for the right reasons. So I'm becoming more and more of a fan of the mindset, the beliefs, and the whys behind what you do as being what's most important to long-term success. And I see this with athletes. The athletes that get the best results with me are the ones who are on the cutting block, about to lose their jobs, and they're not ready to do that. Like the reality of big paycheck to no paycheck, they're all in. They got a big reason behind, and it's beautiful. So Jim Haley is a guy in Newport Beach that I absolutely love. If you want to work on the NLP side of things, the mindset side of things, the emotional side of things, I've invested a lot with him in the last year, and it's been a game changer for me as well in that arena.
That's cool, man. I'm going to have to check him out. Sounds like really, really great work, and certainly can't deny the importance of the mindset on long-term success, certainly weight loss success. Hey, Brad, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I'm in 2 places. So I do a lot of speaking around the world, starting to launch some seminars, things like that. If you go to braddavidson.com, you can see that. I'm in the middle of a content changeover. So it's a little bit rough right now, but I'm hoping in the next 2 weeks it'll all be complete. And then you can also find me on eatsleeprecover.com. The eatsleeprecover.com is the online affordable coaching platform that brings to the table all of my coaching platforms at a really, really affordable price, which I'm very excited about. So it's bringing the best of what I have at such an affordable. It's almost crazy to me that it's actually working out the way it has, but it's pretty cool. Again, it matches the nutrition platform with the supplements we feel are best for you. And we've actually even teamed up with a bunch of different supplement lines. They'll send you'll get this package sent right to you, of the ones we think are most reputable for your specific situation. It's a really cool, scenario how it's all set up. It's going to be insane. So
that's awesome, man. I can't wait to actually try out the program for myself, to try it with colleagues and clients, and don't hesitate to, let us know what we can do to support you. Like I said, man, I was really looking forward to connecting with you. I'm really impressed with what you've what you're currently doing and what you've done in our industry. And man, it's just been a really, really big privilege for me to have you on the Smart Nutrition Made Simple show. And so thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so good to connect with you again and spend some time with you. And man, I absolutely just want you to know I love your product. It's the number one product I recommend for people pre-training, during training, and throughout the day as well. So you got my support in regards to what you're bringing to the world. I love it. So
Awesome.
Keep bringing what you bring to the table, man. My clients are loving you. So
I'll take the free plug on the Complete Essentials. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that, and certainly appreciate the athletes that you've got utilizing it, and glad to see how successful they've been. But we'll certainly chalk that up to all of the other factors that you're implementing with them: training, nutrition, all that good stuff. Supplements just being a very small component, as I'm sure you'll agree. But hey, thanks, brother, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man. It's good catching up.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Smart Nutrition Made Simple podcast. If you did, then go ahead and like and subscribe below. And if you're listening on iTunes, then make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you love the content that we're putting out there, then leave us a 5-star review. It's really the best way that you can support us in our mission to get the best quality strength, nutrition, fitness, and supplement information out there so that we can help more people. We appreciate you. Please continue to listen. And again, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and your time, and catch you on the other side.